On cricket. On Saturday, I hope again to hear the sound of people clapping and cheering, and occasionally the sound of something hitting a piece of wood. And that's because I live in a village which is just near to a cricket ground. And cricket is something which has woven its way through my life. It's not a game, my favourite game, but I think of it, as many do, as a kind of quintessential English game. And that is true. There are portraits and in most cultures of people with some kind of bat-like object and someone throwing something, and you find them in medieval France and you find them in China and so on. But cricket as we know it, with its rules and rituals, seem to derive largely from England. There are accounts, and in my historical researches I came across people playing cricket in an Essex village in the churchyard, and hence punished, in the 16th century, and it's older than that. It must be medieval or earlier. It's not a difficult concept that you have a game revolving round two people, one throwing something and one hitting something. But then it expanded and became formalised and ritualised in the 19th century, and the modern rules of cricket were set out in the 19th century, and the kind of world centre, the Marylebone Cricket Club, or the MCC, was in England. And then, surprisingly, with the Empire, it's an imperial game, and with the Empire it spread like many other things in that empire, until it became the dominant passion in many unlikely places, particularly India. India and cricket are in many ways synonymous, but of course it also became very important in other parts of the empire, like Australia. One of the surprises and difficult things to account for is that it didn't really take off in North America and the United States. They are playing cricket now, but it's not a great cricketing nation like Australia or India. South Africa, of course, is a cricketing nation too. So what is the attraction of this very slow, quiet sort of game? Well, I often think of it, and having stood on various touchlines and played cricket quite a lot as a young man or a child, it's the very slowness that is attractive. It reminds me very much of almost a meditative kind of activity, like sort of Zen meditation, like just keeping still. It's repetitive. Nothing much happens for long periods, and then suddenly there's a bit of action. So there's enough excitement, wondering what will happen next. There's enough of a rhythm to it, predictability, that it acts as almost a soporific or a time for meditation. You have to keep your mind on the game when you're fielding or batting, but for long periods you can also be thinking about other things. There's a joke which I like, someone who said that the English invented cricket, being an irreligious people, to give them some sense of eternity. In other words, it just goes on and on and on. And indeed, as a spectator sport, I would have thought it wasn't very exciting. But as a participant, you soon get into this rhythm, and much of my memories of schools in the summers was the smell of mown grass, the shininess of the bat, inscribed by some famous batsman on the back, and the warmth and fullness of the cricket ball, and your friend's admiration if you manage to make a good catch or bowl someone out. So it's a companionate, very team game, integrates you. The team plays together, and therefore it adds to a sense of community and association. And it's very quintessentially bound up with the villages and small towns of England, each of whom would have a cricket team. So I very much look forward to another clicking of the ball on the bat in a few days' time.